All right.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Um, Hi, Anya. My name is Akosh. It's Product Fit by Airtime, which is a video podcast series with exceptional product builders and product marketers. I'm Akosh, the CEO of Airtime. Airtime is an autonomous product discovery platform which turns all your user calls into product insights. And today, my guest is Anya Rosina, Director of Product Marketing at Restream. And Anya is a walking treasure chest of anything that you can do with live videos as a product managers to get your users and potential users excited about your product. So this is why I invited her, and I'm very happy, Anya, that you accepted my invitation. And just to kick things off, would you say a few words about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. I am a huge, passionate fan of product builders, founders, and like product oriented and product like companies. So it was a pleasure and an honor to be invited and to be here. So I'm excited to have a super fun podcast conversation today. Just like you said, I'm Anya. I work at Restream. I lead product marketing here. I see my mission primarily as building bridges and connecting the product that we build with the customers that are going to use it. So basically, product packaging, messaging, explaining why live video is great is what I do every day. I do believe that the future of content is live, interactive, and real time, authentic. So that's why we're doing this. Prior to Restream, I had some experience in video journalism. I also started my career in tech with Expedia, so travel tech. And right now, I am basically at Restream for the past 6 years. I had an interesting journey starting as general marketer, like a generalist, and then moving into product owner. So I was actually building certain products and
Mhm.
features that we're using today. And then I transitioned back into product marketing, basically marrying those two worlds that I was really passionate about, which was marketing, talking to users, and packaging products and building, which is what product teams do. So that's my story in a nutshell.
It sounds like a perfect synergy. And let's just jump in the deep water straight away. So the theme today is live videos, and you mentioned also that this is the future, right? What is the past? The past is what I've been doing. Is that whenever there's an interesting release coming up, I try to formulate an interesting email, maybe a catchy subject line. Maybe I go and ask ChatGPT to pimp it up a little bit for me. But but thinking about the future, what are some prime use cases that you see when product teams can use live videos beyond like announcing new features?
Yeah, it's really interesting that even a lot of like old ways, so-called old ways to announce and market products are not necessarily obsolete just yet. I do believe that the future of content is live, but it definitely is in synergy with other ways and other kind of like traditional methods of marketing and communicating with users. So I'm not definitely not in the camp of people who are saying that email is dead or blog or landing pages. Like all of those things are great, but I do believe that the power of live video is that it is still not quite the red ocean. Like if you think about it, not that many product companies and product teams are utilizing live video. So it's a really unique opportunity right now to stand out. And in when it comes to use cases, like specific examples of what you can do with live video as a product manager or product team, number one is you nailed it. It's of course product announcements, and we will look at some examples further on today how this could look. But yes, if you have a new feature and new product or something really new, a new update to your to what you're building, there's so many ways to tell people about it, right? And if people don't know about it, they will never use it. So you'll never discover if that's a good thing or bad thing that you build. So email traditionally is one of those ways. You can also make a landing page. You can create some videos and actually post them. You can run some ads. There are very, very different ways how you can kind of educate the world about it. But live video announcements are super exciting. And one of the great examples of that historically is Apple. They release all their new products with like big deal events and they're live, even though they're actually pre-recorded live. But we can dive into that later. But the idea is that people are expecting this announcement, and there is suspense, there is FOMO. If I miss it, if I'm not going to be the first one to learn about it, I'm going to be missing something out. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity to leverage kind of like basic human psychology when you do announcements in real time. Other examples include product demos and walkthroughs.
Hmm.
It's a lot easier to teach people how to use your product when you have a lot more time than just 30 seconds for a TikTok video, right? Like when you actually get them engaged and you can show them all the steps, and you can also take questions in real time. So that's your feedback loop right there. And we can also dive into that deeper of like why exactly it's super valuable to see what kind of questions people are asking during your demos and Q&As. You can do Ask Me Anything and kind of just engage and remind people about the product. You can do interviews. Like this is super cool, whether you're doing that with external players like myself
Hmm.
here, right? Like teaching people about other products and like synergies, or internal if you just have product experts, product managers, builders, designers who can give like a little bit behind the scenes around why you build what you build. A lot of people love those stories, and that's deeper connection with your product that you have the chance to build by doing this way. And of course, there's a few other kind of like more rare examples. Internal communication, live videos are great for that, more engaging and exciting than just some kind of Slack exchanges. You could do in-person things like conferences. If you're doing some product events and conferences, streaming them live is pretty exciting and interesting. But I would say my favorite three are big launches, so product announcements and updates, product demos and Q&As when you teach people how to use a product, and interviews, industry expertise, behind the scenes, all that good stuff. So those would be my three top picks of how product teams can use
Top
live.
picks.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm I'm curious because you mentioned pre-recorded demos and then or pre-recorded announcements and live announcements. What is it about live sessions that makes it, I guess, more exciting than anything pre-recorded in your experience? Because you must have done a number of them for yourself or for your clients.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's a little bit twofold here because, on one hand, you can just record and upload a video, right? And there are definitive benefits of live video versus just uploads that I will kind of get into detail in just a minute. And there's another thing which is pre-recorded live, which is kind of like, I know it sounds like complete meta or like some confusing language tongue twister, but it is a real thing. When you can pre-record a video, you can polish it, you can edit it, and then you can stream it as a live video. And we can also touch on the benefits of that because I think it's a very interesting way to approach live streaming, especially if you're new to that, and especially if you have high stakes events. But let's start with the difference between something that you just upload and live streaming. So let's say you have a product announcement. You can create a nice video and basically upload it as a YouTube clip or as a LinkedIn video post, and then basically let it sit there and let things happen. A lot of people do that for a lot of videos. It's very successful, especially if you are very clever about the subject line and description. YouTube is a wonderful place to post those things because it can get picked up by basically search engine, because as we all know, YouTube is the
Hmm.
second biggest search engine after Google. And on LinkedIn, same way, like posts, like short bite-sized posts with content can get a lot of attention. But one of the things to consider, since LinkedIn is our primary platform for both of us, me as well as you, this is where I have my personal biggest following. LinkedIn actually doesn't allow you to upload anything that's, I believe, more than 15 minutes when it comes to video. Maybe it's 10 minutes. So you are a little limited in the format. So the only way for you to actually create a long form video on LinkedIn is to go live and then save it as a replay. So basically, that's one of the ways how you can kind of like work around the
Right.
limitation of certain platform and have a long-term video on LinkedIn is just by going live. On top of that, live videos are prioritized by most social platforms, at least that I know of. That includes Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and many others. The reason is that the whole live thing is something that they try to promote as much as they can. So if you think about personal experiences, if you open up your Instagram app just with your friends, the very first thing on the very top that you will see are, of course, stories. And if someone happens to be live, they will have a nice little orange or purple circle around them, kind of showing you that this is live. Click it right now. Same for
Yeah.
YouTube, same for
Same on
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Exactly. If anyone is live, they are going to make them like up in front, like literally up front with all their information. And if you happen to click on the live event and then kind of like click out of it, it's going to actually look on LinkedIn like event is still happening, but it's showing you as a message that has like a little
Hmm.
notification that you need to open it. So they're trying so hard to make those pieces of content stand out when they're live, that in my opinion it's just crazy not to take advantage of that and not to leverage this. So this is the power of live versus uploading, and why pre-recorded video turned into a live stream is a good idea is for situations like, we won't say anything in particular, but let's imagine somebody having their internet cable being cut off of their neighborhood and they are struggling to go live because the internet is not there. So this is when pre-recorded streaming can be a lifesaver, because you already
Yeah.
recorded your interview, your product demo, your big deal launch, and then you can schedule it to go live at a specific time, and then it's going to appear as live to take advantage of all those wonderful algorithms and promotional features of every single platform. And in the same time, you can jump in the chat and do probably one of the most exciting and important things that live video can offer: interact with people in real time. Take their questions, highlight them, showcase the best comments, and make the people who are watching your event part of their conversation. Let their voices be heard, let their comments be seen, and truly build this relationship and excitement around what you build and around the relationship and the community.
This last point is particularly like sticking out for me, because when I run my webinars and I have my guest speakers there, but also with the podcast, which are typically not live. This is the first live one that I'm
Yeah.
doing. One of the difficulties that I have is that there's no one in my team who manages the chat. So whenever my counterpart, when my guest is speaking, then I try to like quickly answer a couple of questions, but then you split your attention, and it's a lot more professional in this case in these pre-recorded live sessions that you can focus on the interaction with the
Exactly.
audience. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
It really helps if you don't have to worry about your content and you still stream it live, and then you can focus exclusively on chat. It's literally unlimited opportunities in terms of what you can do. You can follow up with those people, you can screenshot the comments if you want to later on feed them into your product team if folks are providing some interesting feedback about your features and requests. It's also wonderful for follow-ups. You can just be like, okay, I'm going to look up all these people, I'm going to connect with them on LinkedIn, because you don't have to worry about what you're talking about, right? You're exclusively focused on chat. So that's definitely my
yeah.
personal hack when it comes to pre-recorded streams.
Got that. Let's zoom in on, because there are so many use cases, and we could get lost in this maze of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
So let's focus on new feature announcements as a prime use case for live videos for product managers. And what I'm interested in is if you can have any kind of quantification of the benefits. If I do product a feature announcement through live versus old fashioned, and I leave it to you to pick the alternatives. How can you measure, and what should you measure to see that live announcements are more impactful, more engaging?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a few ways how you can approach this, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to share my screen because I have one like kind of interesting example of a live video announcement, so to say, like right here. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, but just to give a little bit of context to people, this is a big announcement of Intercom. It is the company that allows you to. It's like basically like a support chat and help center. Um, Alternative for Zendesk, and there are a few others like that. So what they did here is they announced their AI driven so-called Copilot. It's a product that allows customer success and customer support teams to use AI to like quickly find information and communicate with
Mm.
support tickets and requests. So what they chose to do here is they created this video. It's completely pre-recorded. As you can see, it's like super professionally made, and they had like some cool overlays of how the product will look. It looks very Apple-ish to me personally, which is a good thing because they are taking something that that's proven and successfully working for one of the biggest companies in the world, and they're just kind of like making it their own. What's really interesting here is if we zoom in, we are looking at 5,700 attendees of this event. So those are folks that showed up live. And if you're running your events on LinkedIn, it's very easy to find out who they are. You just click on this and then connect, or send a message. Yes, it's a little bit of manual work, but this is completely different level of following up with people who were interested in this announcement than just sending a cold email, right? Like you can connect with them and say,
Yeah.
hey, I am Aikosh. I ran this event. I'm so happy you attended. Do you have any questions? Do you want to join the wait list? Millions of other ways to approach the CTA. So this is kind of like one of the ways to do it. Of course, on top of that, what I would track as product marketer is, did my feature adoption go up? All of us love this little dashboards where we see how many users on average engage with the feature or product. So I'm going to look for this like little shark fin around the time when I send that live stream, and a little bit after, because live streams fortunately have a little bit of a tail end. Some people will not make it live; they will come back and watch a replay. So that's another place for me to look at, to look for the success of the feature launch. And if we're talking about some other alternative use cases, such as product demos, I like to also look at the number of support tickets. Did we see the decrease in people coming to support and saying, what the hell, Aikosh, I don't understand how to use this thing in Airtime? If that went down after your product demo being live, that's also a good indicator that people are understanding the product more and hopefully falling in love with it. So that's how I would track the results of those things. Social specific numbers and social platforms, just overall growth of feature use or adoption, and the number of support tickets that are coming in with questions of WTF, I don't get this.
Yeah, I have a personal experience, and I wanted to ask your opinion on this.
Yeah.
And the personal experience is about how much easier it is to engage with prospects or with people through LinkedIn. And one of the things I did in the past, I sent a lot of like cold emails or email, even like email based communication, and also with the Airtime users. If somebody signs up, I typically send them a welcome message. And the response rate is, let's call it moderate. But when I go on LinkedIn and I add people, I connect with them, and I just send a short message saying who I am and what I'm doing, the response rate is in my little micro world a lot higher. And I wanted to ask you this: am I an isolated edge case, or is it a general trend that we seem to be developing email blindness and more receptive to messages on social media?
It is definitely a trend, and this is exactly what I'm seeing at Restream for the past 6 years. And this is exactly what a lot of our customers are also reporting. And this is the power of live video, right? Because it goes live on social, where people, just by the nature of social networks, have a lot more context. They can see who you are, they can see your picture, they can see your specific title, they can see the link to your company. You in particular, Aikosh, as far as I remember, have like a super cool like little video right on your LinkedIn when you say, hi, my name is Aikosh and I have this company and it's doing this thing, and if you're looking for a solution for this problem, you should check out my website. Like it's impossible to deliver this kind of message through email, right? I mean, yes, you can send a video,
True.
but then you have to basically expect people to open that email and then click on the video and then watch the video. But people, just like basic human psychology, people are interested in other people. And I'm sure you experience that personally as well. When you have a bunch of people trying to connect with you on LinkedIn, even if you're not necessarily like looking for something in particular, you're still just curious. You'll click on their profiles, you'll look at them and see what they're up
Yeah.
to. So that's just leveraging something that, marketing is all psychology. That's my personal theory. That's what I preach all the time. Yeah, it just like psychologically it makes sense. So connecting with people on social network, when you can provide a lot more context and you can frame your message and visualize it a lot better, is the way to go if you want better results and higher conversion rates.
Cool. On this note, though, I hear all the advantages of live videos, and I'm doing one right now, so I'm definitely I don't need to be convinced. At the same time, it's not yet commonly adopted. At least this is what my impression from my social bubble. It's not something that I see across the board, everybody doing, but it's more the exception today. Why do you think, are we in the infancy of this and in the very early stages, or are there other adoption hurdles that companies face?
Yeah, I think there's definitely kind of like a natural learning curve. Let's face it, launching features is hard. Building products is hard. Like anything that we do every day for an average person on planet Earth is extremely difficult thing. Like we are inventing new things that didn't exist. We're coding things out of air and like making products work and making people accomplish things that they were not able to accomplish before. So same with live video. There's definitely a little bit of this like, okay, I got to figure this out. I have to learn how to do it. I have to have some basic equipment. I have to have that internet cable working, right? I have to have some kind of a camera and some kind of a microphone so people can hear and see what I'm trying to show them. So there is a little bit of an entry barrier for an average person. It's getting lower and lower every day as the technology spreads, as cameras on just our phones and our laptops are getting better and better. So as you can see here, I'm using a DSLR camera because I work for a live streaming company, but eventually that doesn't, I believe it's not going to be a barrier for a lot of people, and they can just connect their phone and their iPhone cameras are going to just do a great job right there. So a lot of that is a perception thing too. We have a lot of ideas about what we're good at and what we're bad at. Most people think that they look bad on camera. Most people think that they sound horrible if you play their own voice recording back to them. So there's a little bit of this like, oh, I'm going to get lost. I don't know what I'm going to say. No one cares about what I hear, what I have to say here. So there's definitely like some psychological barriers and like some basic like technology barriers that people need to overcome. And I do see massive growth of live video, especially since pandemic. This was accelerated big time.
Hmm.
So at least some silver lining from what happened with that global crisis. And I would say the best part right now for product companies is that exactly not everyone is doing that. And big companies just move slowly. And at Restream here, every day we get leads from companies like Salesforce, like Gartner, like Cisco, like giant corporations who are just kind of figuring out that in order to be relevant, they need to have a little business live show around their product
Yeah.
so they can kind of like rally up the community around what they're building. But it is a process. And the huge, massive benefit for smaller companies, for startups, or early stage technology companies and products right now is that they can be in this non-red ocean. They can stand out because they have a live show around their product, around their team, around their mission and vision, right? So whatever they choose to build the event around. So I would predict that in 10 years, everyone will have a live show. Half of them will be AI powered. They will have AI generated avatars just like doing the things. And then the real unique human experiences in live videos are going to be even more valuable. So who knows what the future holds, of course. I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't necessarily see all the future. But what I definitely see right now is trends is if you're a smaller company, product team, you definitely should live stream because it will help you to stand out. And then in the future, it's going to be more and more of that. And probably not all of that will be human. So brace yourself, buckle up.
Wow! 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 That's a very inspiring perspective, to be honest, because it's changed. A lot of things are changing, and it's not that difficult to be at the forefront. One thing that I can confirm from my own experience is that in the past, listening to my own voice was awkward, but since I've been doing the webinars and I'm doing the post editing and I'm making highlight reels, so I'm just forced to listen to myself sometimes, and I've gotten used to it. It's not awkward any longer.
Yeah.
So I can definitely second this point.
It takes a minute, but then eventually once you are there, it's just so much, yeah, it's so much easier to be okay with that. But yeah, it's a process. Like I mean, I totally agree that people in general are like, "Oh my god, this is hard to go live for the first time." But yeah, it can happen.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Anya, I have I don't know if did you bring any other examples that could be inspiring that we could show our guests. If not, I have another topic I can bring for ourselves.
Yeah, I was actually just right now making some screenshots of our pages of how we appear on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, both my page and your page, because we actually paired our accounts. So this is rebroadcasted to me as your guest, as well as on Airtime page. And I was just kind of like making some screenshots that I will send over to you later because it's really so cool to see. actually, let me see if it makes sense to just share my screen and show the rest of the team here what we're talking about. So this is Airtime page right now, right? So you see how we basically turned this into our own mini TV channel, and we're basically just anyone who goes to the page right now will see this happening in real time. And how cool is that, right? And the same thing will happen if we just go to my page. See, like this is just me, and it's also like a mini TV channel where we talk about
Wow.
what's happening right now. So if you happen to have like a bigger panel of guests, um, all of them could be amplifying your message in this way. And I think this is just so empowering. One of the empowering things about live video, and especially platforms like LinkedIn, is that your whole professional audience could all of a sudden become part of your own broadcasting network where you're sharing your insights and thoughts and opinions. So that's just another thing that I wanted to show to folks because just in case if that's new to some people, because based on your wow, it did seem like it is
Yeah. No,
relatively
it's
new to
it's
you.
staggering. I should be asking questions, but I'm still speechless. So let me fill the void with a question from Maria. I saw her
Yeah,
comment and question in the chat, and
yeah,
she's saying that she feels scared when releasing an MVP because people get super hyped about it, and then you have a more refined product, and then you let people know again, and the hype is a little bit gone. And the way I paraphrase her question to myself is that the gunpowder that you have. What is your experience with using LinkedIn Live and these announcements regularly for various stages of the product development?
yeah. It's a great question, Maria. Thank you so much for sharing. Also, if you click on this question, we can actually show it. It's kind of a big question, so I don't think it's going to like show
Oh,
the whole thing. Like we could
wow.
potentially.
Yeah. There we go.
I love your reactions. This is my favorite. So this is
Ah,
like this is brilliant. But yeah, so I agree with you, Maria, that like if you are trying to make a super hype event out of every little thing, like, oh, we increase like this, like we moved our logos like a few pixels on the web page. Wow, big event. That's probably not like that's going to create some fatigue. So you definitely need to be somewhat thoughtful in terms of what is a live announcement worthy. For us at Restream in particular, we try to reserve live announcement for like more kind of like special occasions. If it's a major update to our product, if it's a completely new product or feature release that was highly on demand and requested by our community, or we also do live sales, which is very fun to do. We have one big sale of the year, Black Friday sale. It comes from our experience in B2C when we were serving primarily individual content creators, and we still run those events when we have like massive discounts and when we go live with our product team, with our marketers. We talk about the most amazing features and how you can get them with this best price of the year. We run QR codes right on our live stream so people can scan and purchase directly from our videos. So like we kind of reserve this kind of hype events for like more of a special occasions. We don't go live every day. What we do more regularly though are product demos, and we try to make sure that this is consistent, and that just kind of becomes this learning hub for people. And in that case, the fatigue is not that much of an issue because it's usually a different crowd coming in, and the goal there
Yeah.
is to always be consistent, to always be present and train people that, hey, every month I'm going to show up and show you how to do one thing. For example, how to how to run pre-recorded videos live, or how to pair your channels with your guests so they rebroadcast your events, and then you have this paired comments coming in, so like more people are learning about your product and your vision and your mission. So that I would say could be something to consider for like more consistent basis. But for big launch announcements, it's kind of a lot of work, so I would reserve that for like maybe once a quarter, not more than that, to save yourself some time and energy, and as well to keep that hype and to prevent that fatigue from, oh gosh, I can't believe Maria is live again. We don't want that. We want it to be special.
Thank you. I have a last question from my side.
Yeah.
If if you want to get started, let's say you haven't done any live videos yet, we went through the psychological barrier and other hurdles. But is there like a step-by-step guide, some sort of like a self-serve manual that you can share with the audience, like how to overcome your fears and how to try it and how to get started?
Yeah, this is actually a great question. And this is a good idea for our next blog post, I feel like, because I feel like we definitely need to just build something like this on the Restream ecosystem of kind of like knowledge base, like exactly step by step. If I'm new, what the hell do I do? Actually, here in the comment, I see Visna. Hi there. She's watching us from our from my LinkedIn page. She's actually a great example of someone who is just running kind of like a one girl show around her company and her startup as well as her courses. So she's actually a great person to also answer that question, maybe, and in the comments, like how you started personally. But I would say the number one thing is you need to figure out your format, right? And you and I actually had this conversation earlier when we first connected via live, like a little meeting, that you were trying to do different things. You tried to do like invite guests with like slides, but then you realized it's not working. And it became just like a fun kind of like talk show conversation with like a little bit of humor, with a little bit of storytelling. So that's the first thing I would do is figure out your format. My personal opinion is that creating content together in the format of interview, which is what we're doing right now, is by
Mhm.
far the easiest way to start because it's just a conversation. If it's just you, you have to think about content. You have to have some visuals and slides because no one wants to watch just one talking head for 30 minutes, right? If it's a conversation, it's a different story. But if it's just you, you have to prepare a lot of material to keep people engaged. If it's Q&A or some kind of like an interview where you have questions, and especially if you engage the audience and take questions from the chat, it is very, it's like so much easier to overcome this barrier. In the end of the day, just think of it as a chat with your friend, right? It's not like that big deal of a performance or TV hosting as it would be if you were solo. But for different people, different things work, right? For some people, they like 4 people on screen and they just like exchange and they like share some videos, some slides. Some people like to have like a ton of material prepared and like show some data and case studies and things like that. So pick your format would be my number one thing. The second thing would be to figure out like where you want to go. And the very common misconception is if I focus on one platform, I'm going to do better. But actually, if you connect more different channels and platforms, you just have a chance to understand which one performs better. And then you can invest more into it. But multi-streaming is the king. So that's kind of my little opinion on that. And then testing, being consistent. But if you are talking about like the specific steps, number one is you need to have some kind of space. You want to invest in some kind of camera and some kind of microphone because people need to be able to hear and see you. Pick your platform, how you're going to do the live video. The easier, the better. So web browser-based studios are probably my preference. You don't want to figure out how Vimix, OBS, or all this big deal professional software work.
Yeah.
And then just start building on that. My other personal pro tip is if you're doing live streams, focus big time on the community. Take their questions, even if it's just a few people in the chat. Celebrate them, acknowledge them, tell them that they're awesome. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Visa. Thank you, Nitro Crazy, for showing up today. Like, you guys are rock stars because you made this event interactive. And if you keep doing that, people will get trained that this is how this events run, and they keep coming, and then keep, and you keep building, and it's going to have that snowball effect of like, when the little snowball starts on top of the mountain, and then towards the end, it's a giant ball of snow, which in our case is going to
Yeah.
be community around the nucleus of what you are believing in, which is your product, your vision, your company.
Anya, I learned a lot today. I need to go through this through our discussion myself. I think I'm sure our audience learned a lot as well. I'm really grateful for you to be sharing all your like knowledge, examples, use cases. Multi-streaming is king, or multi-platform, multi-channel streaming is king. Thank you for shattering that myth that I also thought, okay, I just focus on LinkedIn because then I'll do better. It's been an amazing discussion. With that, I'd like to conclude our chat today, and I hope to see you around. Like you just gave me a bunch of other topics that I'd love to discuss with you in the future.
Yes, absolutely. Great vibes. I really enjoyed this. Thanks everyone for showing up again. And thanks for inviting me. I would be happy to be back. And yeah, cheers everyone. Keep building. Go live.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being active. Thanks for the questions, particularly. And everybody have a nice day or evening. Take care.